Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today's the last Sunday of the month, and this is the last month of the year. So this is my very last no-buy check-in, my very last sort of official documentation of my no-buy for the entire year of 2022. So let's look at December. In December, I used up two things, and this is a high flow Uniball Signo in gold, and this is a Pilot in gold. And these are things that I use. I use this one a ton in May. I will link the playlist of my sketchbooks. So for mermaids, I had a lot of gold. And this one I used a lot in September when I did Sketchtember and did an art journal. So between the two of these, I actually like both and use both differently. So when I went to document what I wanted for the month of December, they were really just filling two needs. Because I will be replacing these next summer. So there wasn't really anything I wanted for December. This is just sort of refilling inventory of art supplies I've already owned, which I take that as progress. So for the month of December, I wanted two things, needed two things, and $11.85. Now, because these are empty, I've moved on to using my Posca gold. And once this is done, I probably won't be replacing it. I just like these shades, and I just like these a little bit better than the Posca. So let's look at the year. So if you remember, I sort of broke the year up into 4-month chunks. So the first third of the year, I would have spent $1,305.60. From January to April, from May to August, $312.98, and from September to December, $103.40. So if we look at what I would have spent for all of 2022, and I apologize, my cats are eating and playing and being silly, I would have spent $1,721.98. Again, this isn't even remotely close to what I thought I was spending, which was $500. So last year, over $2,600. This year would have been a little over $1,700, which I didn't spend that. So when we look at all the years together, it's sort of a low, high, lower, really high. So I think I sort of toggle a little bit if we're looking at 6 years. Even though I didn't spend anything, this would have been the amount. Roughly. I think it would have been more. Honestly, if I weren't doing a no-buy, I don't think it ever would have started getting down less and less. I think this would have easily broke $2,000. I just do. And again, for my low buy moving forward, and I will have a couple videos a year documenting that and talking about that, because this is a journey, it's a process, it's not a destination. So I want to keep with the accountability of how I maintain and break down purchases and keep to that $500 budget. The other thing I want to show you is my empties jar. So this is one thing that did not break in our earthquake, and I'm so excited. So here are the two empty pens, and what I did with this huge jar, and this was from a huge thing of Pickles. I just took sort of the paper wrapping off huge sketchbooks, since I can't shove a sketchbook in a jar. And this is from like Spray Fixative. These are all the sketchbooks I filled this year. So I filled 11 sketchbooks, and I have tons of printer ink and just paper documentation of everything I used up. This was a watercolor pad for my YouTube channel. Here's pens. Lots of printer ink. Here's another gold pen. These are high flow, so I go through them pretty quickly. Another sketchbook wrapper. I used up a glue stick when I did my September journal. I used up a Sakura pen. Here's more, the little tiny sketchbook. Here's another sketchbook, the Stillman Burn. Here's the empty one that had the little eraser stubs. Here's another one. I used up 3 of these gold pens this year. More ink. It's a lot. Sketchbook, ink, ink, ink. We get down, this was the sketchbook that I used, filled well, I filled 30 pages of it last year and the last 10 this year. More ink cartridges. Again, I wish I could do refills, but it gums up my machine, so I can only buy the new cartridges for my printer. And these are little pencil bits. We have a charcoal pencil, a drawing pencil, a colored pencil, and then eraser caps that I used all the way through and have holes on the top. And then the sketchbook, I filled, there's still a couple days left in December, but this is what I'm filling. This is a little tiny Lecterm A6, and this is what I'm filling. And this is why I'm using up gold ink, is because I'm doing metallic portions. And there will be a sketchbook tour the last day of December. But so this is everything I filled up in the year. It's a lot of ink, it's a lot of pens, it's a couple pencils, erasers. I filled 4 sketchbooks full of watercolor paint, and I didn't use anything up. So what this shows me and what this tells me is that I don't need any more watercolors. I have a 36 Schmincke Hydrum Aquarelle. I have a little 12 Cotman, Winsor Newton Cotman set for traveling, a pocket sketchers, and I have maybe a dozen tubes of like granulating and specific watercolors. And that may not sound like a lot, or maybe that does. Everything's relative to who you follow on YouTube, what you own, how you create. But I wasn't able to use up any of my watercolors. And I spent an entire month filling an A4 with only 1 tube, and that was the indigo, and I still have a huge chunk of that left. So when it comes in terms of output, I created over 365 pieces this year because there is overlap. Let me show you real quick how I document this. Just because I'm gonna assume if you're watching this, you're as visual as I am. This is my Hobonichi weeks, and this is sort of a look at the day. And what I did was I color coded my drawing challenges, and you will see where there is overlap in some of the months. Here's like Game of Shrooms for 3 days, and this one overlapped this one. There was overlap with a bunch of these. So I did, you know, over 370 illustrations, and out of watercolors, I did over 100 watercolors, and I wasn't able to use them up. So I don't need to buy any more watercolors. You know, if I do something monochromatically, I need to understand that I need at least, you know, more than one backup. And for high flow pens, obviously, me purchasing them in a 3-pack is smart, and I still ran out. But yeah, I was only able to use this much, and only 2 drawing pencils. So the amount of supplies I have versus how much I can use up when it comes to mediums isn't very much in a year. Sketchbooks, on the other hand, like going through 11 is a lot. That's a lot of sketchbooks, plus the one for my channel that I filled with tutorials and looking at stuff and drawing while I was talking. That's a lot. So if I take all the paper out, all these different sketchbooks, it's just sort of this. Isn't that wild? Isn't that absolutely wild? And if I take the ink out, let's say you're not doing any printing, or you don't have a printer and you're just doing a NoBuy, and you want to see what mediums I used up, this is it for an entire year. Isn't that absolutely wild? These are pieces to this Mono Zero eraser. This is what I used in a year for mediums. Absolutely wild to see it visually like this. It's absolutely wild. So I hope that this helped. I hope this is encouraging. I hope that this is inspiring. I really want to say thank you. I'm going to do a draw with me on Thursday where I talk about my first purchase. But for this video, I want to say thank you for following along, for helping me keep accountable, for checking in, for asking questions, for just being generally supportive. And I want to say how proud I am of you. I am so proud of you. If you tried this for a month, 3 months, 6 months, an entire year, I am so unbelievably proud of you. I know how hard this is. Believe me, I do. And it's just so wonderful to be able to share this with you, to do this with you, and know that, you know, we're kind of in this together, or we're just generally, for folks just following along and being supportive who aren't doing a no-buy or a low-buy. Thank you. I'm proud of you too, just for hanging out and just being generally wonderful, because that's awesome. So I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.